Of Q broadcast, it's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and others for something better. Q broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want, including HBO, Cinemax, and Stars. And the best part, there are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy streaming live TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices at once. Whether you're at home or on the go, Q Broadcast makes sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. Imagine being able to watch all your favorite channels from anywhere, anytime, without any restrictions. We're talking about thousands of movies, hundreds of TV series, and a huge library of live channels, all in one place. And don't forget video on demand and pay-per-view events. Those are included at no extra cost, so you'll never miss a big event again. Now, take a second and think about your current cable bill. You're probably paying anywhere between $100 and $300 every month, locked into long-term contracts and hit with surprise rate increases. With Q Broadcast, that's a thing of the past. It's just $60 a month. No contracts, no extra fees, no hidden costs, and no price hikes. Why juggle multiple subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, and cable when Q Broadcast gives you everything you need in one convenient package? People everywhere are switching to Q Broadcast, saving money and getting more content than ever before. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description and sign up for Q Broadcast today. Just $60 a month, no contracts, no hidden fees. It's time to take control of your entertainment and start streaming smarter.
We live in a world where men are told it's harmless. It's just entertainment. But let's stop lying to ourselves. Pornography destroys. It weakens your spirit. It dulls your drive. And it robs you of what real intimacy is supposed to be. Every click is a step away from the man you're supposed to be. We can't call ourselves leaders if we are slaves to a screen.
As someone that is prior service, I know all about discipline. And discipline isn't out there. It's within your mind. Porn rewires your brain, weakens your will, wrecks all of your relationships. It doesn't just stay on a screen. It invades your marriage, your confidence, and your actual purpose. As men, if we don't learn to discipline ourselves, we'll be ruled by our impulses. Now, it is time to stand up and take control before this silent war takes more than you're willing to lose.
Real men don't hide in the shadows of shame. We step up and we protect what's ours. We fight for our wives and kids, our own hearts. Twitter isn't just an app. It's a weapon. It's a tool used to break free and start living like the man that you're meant to be. The battle's here and it starts with you. You can stop living in shame and you can break free today.
Here at the Anomic Age, we know that these times of uncertainty are stressful. It is incumbent upon all of us to put our fears first and bow down to government tyranny. Gone are the days of freely leaving your home, working, and social interactions. In exchange for safety, we will trade liberty. At the Anomic Age, we understand. However, just in case you want to get off your knees and stop being a sniveling coward, check out the John Age Project at anomicage.com.
Meet Ann Morrissey, who is here with her daughter, Dareth. Dareth is 17 years old. Mrs. Morrissey, I don't have to tell you that most parents would be extremely depressed if their daughter came home one day looking like this. I assume that was your response. Shock, anger, depression? What was it?
I was extremely angry. I really went bananas.
Yeah, how old was she when this happened?
Possibly 13, 14 years old.
We're talking like it's a disease, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah. How did she explain it to you, Mrs. Morrison?
there was very poor communication until we went into counseling. And it almost broke up our family. But through counseling and Serena, I can understand it better.
What do you understand?
That she feels like she doesn't want to be like everyone else, and she wants to be her own person. And through the dress code and her lifestyle, she's expressing this. It doesn't conform with our rules, but we're learning to cope, and it's a very, very difficult thing. Extremely difficult.
Dareth, let's let you talk for yourself. You're from Long Beach, California.
I just can't handle being like everybody else because that's what everybody else wants, you know. Just because somebody else does something does not mean that I have to do it. You know, I have my own morals and ideals, and I go by them.
Are you drug-free, Dareth?
Yes, I am.
Is this a political statement then? Do you have some misgiving about the society that you see?
Yeah, there's a lot of problems, you know. A lot of the people are really aware of what's going on, you know, and I don't like it, you know. There's a lot of problems.
What?
I don't like the way society is based.
What bothers you? Give us some of the misgivings you have.
The rich, the poor, the people starving, the wars, you know. Why can't, you know, everybody just get along and just live their life?
Here at the Anomic Age, we know that these times of uncertainty are stressful. It is incumbent upon all of us to put our fears first and bow down to government tyranny. Gone are the days of freely leaving your home, working, and social interactions. In exchange for safety, we will trade liberty. At the Anomic Age, we understand. However, just in case you want to get off your knees and stop being a sniveling coward, check out the John Age Project at anomicage.com.
Meet Ann Morrissey, who is here with her daughter, Dareth. Dareth is 17 years old.
Propagating truth in a world of lies. You are listening to the John Age Project.
Trust no one. Trust no one. Trust no one.
You found it. You're here. You're headlong down the runaway train that is the Anomic Age, and I am your host, John Age, hailing proudly from the coastal plains of the old North State. I will be your tour guide this evening as we take a somewhat satirical journey down the path of murder, destruction, mayhem, and the extermination of human life on this planet. A forced march into obsolescence thrust upon us by a global satanic death cult of pedophiles. Oh, everything's working as it should be. It's looking kind of squirrely on my end. Let's hope so anyway, folks. Thanks for joining us this evening. Thank you ever so much for being with us here in the Anomic Age. I am your host, John Age. Oh, my gracious goodness sakes alive. Technical problems abound, but I don't know what's up. It ain't on my end. My end's looking smooth. that feed's looking a little squirrely. But nevertheless, there you are. Here I am. We're going to jump right into the deep end of the pool. But before we do, please check out anomicage.com. If you've not already done so, please Like all the likes, excuse me, subscribe to all the subscriptions, paypal.me/anomic age, patreon.com/anomic age as well. If you can do no more, I highly encourage you to please go there, excuse me, go there and like the Anomic Age, folks. Like all the likes, subscribe to all the subscriptions, and consider becoming a patron. You got the free iPhone app, the free Android app, the subscribe by email link, and so much more right there at anomicage.com. Oh my gracious. So much to get into, as we always seem to have so much to get into here in the Anomic Age. Again, thank you so much for being with us. I know it's kind of late, but I assure you I will take you into the wee hours of the AM. We're starting sort of on time tonight at 11:30 p.m. I guarantee I'll take you into the 12:30 p.m. time slot, safely into the wee hours of the AM. So, we seem to have some sort of difficulties here with this. I don't know what in the devil's going on, but I'm getting kind of downright disgusted about it. Nothing's changed on my settings in, but something seems to be awry, amiss, and otherwise fouled up on the feed end. So I don't know, folks. I'm just going to let it do what it do. I'm going to keep doing what I do. So let's jump into the deep end of the pool tonight, shall we? So the obvious stuff we're going to get into this evening is the death. I'm going to try to keep it cool because, as usual, there's some problem. But we're going to get into the death of Iryna Zarutska, a Ukrainian-born female, Iryna Zarutska, Ukrainian-born female who just had the misfortune, I guess, of being in the formerly, well, I'm going to give this about one more shake and I'm going to cut this thing off and start over again. I think that's what we'll do. Yep. Because there's obviously some sort of problem there on mine. I don't know what it is. Let's stop it all.
Propagating truth in a world of lies. You are listening to the John H. Project.
Trust no one. Trust no one. Trust no one.
You found it. You're here. You're headlong down the runaway train that is the Anomic Age, and I'm your host, John Age. Imagine that. Back again, and we're going to see if we can make this thing work this time. I'm not really sure what in the devil went on just a moment ago. No clue on my end. Everything's looking good, sounding good, and otherwise should be good. I'm definitely getting a little squirrely notice from Facebook on the Patriots Prayer streaming service known as StreamYard. So I don't know what's up with that. Not on my end either. So couldn't tell you what the devil's going on with any of this malarkey. All I can tell you is that you can go to anomicage.com. It looks a heck of a lot like that if you're looking at it there on your screen. And you can find all things me. PayPal.me/Anomic Age, Patreon.com/Anomic Age as well. Those would be the best ways that you can help me out if you want to support this broadcast. PayPal.me/Anomic Age, Patreon.com/Anomic Age as well. So you can get the iPhone app, the Android app, the subscribe by email link, the free newsletter, and so much more right there at, you guessed it, folks, anomicage.com. Can't recommend it enough. As you can see, I'm pretty jazzed. Let me do some jazz hands for you. I'm jazzed about all the awesome technical issues that we had just a moment ago, but I sincerely apologize, and I guarantee it ain't going to ruin this show. Oh, nay, nay. Ain't no way. I hope you hear what I'm trying to say. Here we go. We're going to jump right into the deep end of the pool, I tell you, and we're going to get into the murder of Iryna Zarutska. And unfortunately, she made the mistake of coming to the communist bleep hole of North Carolina, and one of the supreme capitals of communist bleepdom here in North Carolina would be one of the cities, the Queen City of Charlotte. The Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina, is where Iryna Zarutska met her untimely demise on a public transit system, aka public transportation there in Charlotte, a little train action. Yeah, she was murdered by DeCarlos Brown Jr. Boy, did I tell you. And I'm sure somebody wants me to put the caveat, allegedly. Allegedly my foot, folks. Allegedly my foot. Okay? If we can go down this guilty as charged based on the evidence of video cam footage, a la St. George Floyd, or a la the Rodney King malarkey, then we can surely go down that well-paved road by these racist pieces of trash and say that is also the case of Iryna Zarutska. So she was murdered in cold blood by this DeCarlos Brown filth pile, sitting there minding her own business, not saying a word to anybody. But this human pile of refuse, can we get a picture of this lovely individual? Because I know a lot of people are really just dying to see this guy. No, we're going full screen with that one. That's what we're looking for, folks. Yeah, this joker right here. And I have found a fairly uncensored version of the video. We'll be showing you that in just a little bit. But really what I wanted to get into this evening, that's okay. It's not a problem. I really wanted to get into this evening was really, I was going to call this show several different things. And I really am glad. I'm glad that I didn't go forward and kind of do the show that I was going to do initially, because that would have been just bad news bears for everybody. I can guarantee you that. Because I was kind of very much poised to come on here and do quite the black-pilled show. Some might call it based. Yeah, based show at this point in the game. I don't know. I don't know why you would want to say that. But nevertheless, some people would say it's a very based show, and I was going to come up here and really just ring the alarm for the quite obvious. But, I think I mentioned this on the previous show, and I'm glad that I didn't do that, because I mentioned this on the previous show. Oopsie, there we go. I swear to God, it's just unbelievable sometimes when you try to get things to work and then they just don't work. That's okay. We'll just do this in real time, like while we're talking. It's all right. It's not a problem, and it's just going to work out just fine. Because sometimes that's just how things are. And that's okay. You see, sometimes you just weren't meant to show the imagery that you worked on and created for a show. That's okay too. Because the real purpose of tonight's show is to discuss the murder of this young lady. But not just that. As I said a moment ago, I was really going to come on here and do kind of a black-pilled, very based. The young whippersnappers might call it based. I just call it telling the truth. But I really kind of just kept my cards close to the vest. I didn't come out here and do a weekend show, which is really what I was going to do. I was going to do a weekend show and just really come out here and kind of just go full bore with it. But I decided against that, and I think that was the right move. Because when I've come out here kind of half-cocked before, I've gone really dark, and that's not really the trajectory that we need to go in. It's not the Christian way that I need to come up here and approach this topic. And really through some careful self-observation, or dare I say reflection, I've kind of come to that same realization. There's no reason to come out here and just stoke the flames of division. That'd be too easy, because, that can be done 8 days a week and twice on Sunday. And quite honestly, it's been done to death. Pun intended. It really has been done to death. And there's just no need to go out here and do that. So we're not going to do that. We're going to discuss this in a very rational way. We're going to approach it in a calm way. And I'm going to cover this probably in a different way than's really been tackled before. Because everybody in their right mind on the right side of things has seen this over the last 4 or 5 days. And everybody on that side of the coin as well has made obvious observation that none of the mainstream media has been touching this with a 10-foot pole. We got President Trump coming out and discussing it today. We'll cover that clip in just a moment. So I'm really going to tackle this from, I'd say, a very historical perspective. I really want to unfurl how we got into this predicament, specifically of white Americans being the most cucked, pathetic, pandering, groveling, weak pieces of garbage in America. That's really the primary issue here. And I was going to throw this image up later. I can put it up there now, I believe, because I think that really touches the larger problem that we got here. Don't worry, it's okay. I'm not going to be shaken by any sort of technical problems. It's not going to bother me. But I was really going to tackle that from that perspective. And this is probably the image that I should have shown you to begin with, and just not the murderous filth image, but actually this image right here, because this image right here really does show the problem. On the left of the screen there, we've got the symptom, and the symptom is quite clearly white people being hunted for sport all across this nation, really all across the world, if you want to look at the Muslim trash invading all over Europe. But we're going to speak towards America because that's where we are. And quite frankly, that's who I care about. So in doing so, we're going to cover that quite aptly this evening. And we're going to cover what the problem is, how we got here, and if there really is a way out of this. To be frank with you, I don't think there is. I've seen a lot of people saying, this is this big turning point and nobody's going to forget this. And I don't believe that for a blipping second, folks. I really don't. I hate to break it to you, but I just see this as more obvious symptoms of the weakness in America. The overall, overarching, unmitigated, unshakable weakness that has just really struck American culture. And I'll touch on American white culture because that's the problem. To be quite frank with you, that is the problem. So the root cause, you'll put this back on the screen if we can. Root cause is the weakness of white males in America. And a symptom of that is what we saw with Iryna Zarutska getting murdered by this animal, savage piece of low-class filth in the Queen City of Charlotte. And we'll cover the cause of it. We will cover the symptoms of it. And we will cover how this actually came to be, as far as every communist-run city in this nation basically looks the same. It's all DEI. It's all females in positions of power. And it's all emblematic of the root cause, which would be the weakness of white males in Los Estados Unidos. So that's what we really got to get into, folks. So it's kind of a tale of the tape. I started to call this episode Tale of the Tape. I started to call this episode The Mouse That Roared. But in lieu of all that, I went in a different direction, and I called this episode what I did: America's Delusional Race Relations. I was going to just call it America's Delusion, which you could go with that too, but America's Delusional Race Relations, because it's equally delusional on the right and the left, on the black and the white, on every way you can possibly shake this thing out. It is absolutely delusional. So in order to get to the root cause, in order to stop these symptoms, in order to turn the proverbial ship around, we got to actually stop the delusion. That's kind of the crux of it all. So with Tale of the Tape, if you want to look at it through this lens, and I'm not going to spend a hell of a lot of time talking about this moron at the Philadelphia game. And I was going to pull the video of this, and I decided, no, it's just not even worth it. At this point in the game, it's kind of a moot point. But if you want to look at that video, there's tons of video of it. This image that you're seeing on the screen, in my humble opinion, really encapsulates the neutered, cuck, just pandering, weak, groveling, simpering, pathetic nature of white males in this country. Because I'll break it down for you very succinctly, because I'm not going to waste a bleep of a lot of time on this. you had this father depicted there on the right-hand side of your screen. The father brought his son to a game. Apparently, they had talked about it beforehand. Like the kid really wanted a home run ball. The dad was conversating with the kid like, yo, we're going to try to get you a home run ball. So a home run was hit. The dad runs over there a couple seats, I guess, to his right, our left, and grabs the ball that was a home run ball. This Karen just complete everything that you would want to throw up in your mouth about our society. You know, this Rosie O'Donnell body double, this Karen, this very bullish, short-haired type. Yeah. She, I guess, is flabbergasted by this because she wanted the ball. And you can see other video out there showing this lady never even had a hand on the ball. But I guess she assumed that since she was some sort of school administrator and she had the Rosie O'Donnell hair and looked like a dude and acted like a dude, that she could shake down a man at this baseball game and get this guy to grovel, to pander, to simper, to whine, to, oh, just get out of my face. I'm so afraid. And that's exactly what happened. So as I said all across social media for the last 3 or 4 days, this guy didn't just lose one ball. Apparently, he lost the only one that he had left. Because this Karen Rosie O'Donnell impersonator runs over to this guy, gets in this guy's face, and the image there on the screen really says it all, folks. The image on the screen, this guy's giving his kid a hug, and this baboon comes over and confronts him, and he sort of like jostles, he jumps back, you know, as if he were getting confronted by the police or something. Oh my goodness. You know, startles and jumps back, all like afraid of this Rosie O'Donnell impersonator coming to take his ball and scold him and give him the typical nanny state. I'm a DEI hire woman in power, controlling my men folk. That sort of shtick. So immediately, being the gutless, ballless individual that this father is, he hands over the ball to this individual, and that's that. I was going to play you this video. I might play it later if we have time. I know we won't, but it was a video of the dad and his 2 kids after this incident, and the person was saying, yo, do you regret this, and blah blah blah, and the kids are just kind of looking like they lost any inkling, any modicum, any ounce of respect that they ever had for this man is now gone. It's clear on both his son and his daughter that both of them were just like, oh my gosh. You know, my dad's the biggest boob in the world, a cowardly lion at best, handed over the home run ball for the kid on his birthday to this crazed individual. So you might be asking yourself, John, how does this possibly relate to the murder of Iryna Zarutska? And I'm going to keep saying her name, folks, just like that stupid Breonna Taylor crap from a couple years back. Everybody needs to make it real clear that Iryna Zarutska was murdered by DeCarlos Brown Jr. We definitely need to make everybody aware of her name. Say her name, folks. That's the name that should be plastered all across social media. Just like Breonna Taylor. Just like St. George Floyd and all the other would-be criminal scum that they've had all across media, social media, and any sort of media for the last 10 plus years, as everybody right of Mao has had to stomach this asinine narrative of slavery, 400 years of slavery, this asinine narrative of somehow racism, institutional racism, implied racism, microaggression, sexism, and all sorts of isms until you just want to throw up. Folks, if you're not well past that, you should be. If this incident has served no other purpose in your life, it should be to get you way past the bull butter, way past the manure. That should be the case. I doubt that it will be because, of course, this whole place seems to just be scum, 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 scum. I'm trying to decide if I'm actually going to shade this video. I guess so. I mean, we really have to. I guess that's the only thing to do here. Because I wasn't going to show it. I've gone back and forth on this whole thing, and I think we have to. I think we have to show the video. I'm going to cut the sound on it because you don't need it. But I'm going to cut the sound on this video, and then we are going to discuss. We're going to discuss a whole lot more. We're going to get into the root cause of this. Because this is the criminal scum that murdered this girl. DeCarlos Brown Jr. Okay? And I mean, I realize this is a woman that's very well of age, but I swear, man, look at this image here. It looks like this is it's like a kid, man. I know it's not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting imagery on your screen that is in any way trying to confuse you. But it sure looks like it, doesn't it? All right. Let's play the video. And it's still a censored version of the video. They just basically grayed out or censored out the images of the actual stabbing. But you can see the whole deal as to what's actually going on here. This is just sick, folks. So sick. You'll forgive me if I'm at a little bit of a loss for words here. You'll forgive me if I'm being a little bit somber and silent at this. Because we live in such a bleeped up society where you've got fear porn all over TV. You've got the torture porn in the movies, a la Touristas and the Saw series where people are getting tortured and the like. But here's the deal, folks. In the movies, at least, you can hopefully go home knowing that was not a real individual, wasn't a real event, unless maybe you were watching one of those Uma Abedin and Hillary Clinton snuff films. But at least you can go and understand that the fiction that you might see at the movie theater, even if you're into that kind of mess, is computer generated, as special effects is not real. But what you just saw, folks, I'm going to put it back on the screen. What you just saw, folks, was a murder. This guy just stabbed this girl to death in the throat. That's what we just witnessed, folks. That's what we saw. This ain't a movie. This ain't a television show. This ain't a made-for-TV movie. This is reality. That girl slumped over and died because this animal stabbed her to death on a train in the communist-controlled state of North Carolina, in the communist bleep hole of Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City. Catherine Mecklenburg, it's who it's named after. The Queen. Charlotte Mecklenburg. So that's really what's up, folks. That's what you are seeing. And I'm just going to show this again. I'm going to keep playing it, perhaps throughout the entire show, because it should be this disturbing to you. This should shake everybody to the core, black, white, and otherwise. But you got apologists out there that are making excuses for DeCarlos Brown Jr. You got apologists out there that are trying to somehow claim that this is justified. Oh, it's 400 years of slavery. Everybody just needs to make reparations. Everybody needs to apologize that was even remotely Caucasian. Kiss my grits, folks. They got several GoFundMes for DeCarlos Brown Jr. How the bleep is that possible? You got GoFundMes for a murderer. That's where we're at, folks. Let's go a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole. Lawmakers call for judge's removal after Charlotte light rail stabbing. You don't say. You lawmakers in North Carolina, the communist bleep hole, the cesspool of the East Coast, second only to New York and Pennsylvania, maybe Massachusetts. I don't know. It's sort of a tie because all the North states are nothing but scum. And I guess just below the Mason-Dixon, you would think that North Carolina would have its proverbial mess together, but it doesn't. We had to endure how many years of that? Please try to keep it together, John. How many years of that individual known as Roy Cooper as our governor? He's running for Senate now. And after days of this, he finally came out and had some sort of press release, basically just talking about violence. Roy, it's not violence, you scumbag. It's hate crimes. It's racially motivated violence. It's violence that seems to be stemming from a particular sect of the populace. You want to guess which one? Yeah, it's the magical 13% of the population that makes 80% of the violent crime. Which one might that be, John? Which one might that be, Roy? I cannot even fathom that we somehow did not get the great Mark Robinson as our governor. I understand it because this state is controlled by the cities, which are controlled by the cult of academia. K through 12 indoctrination, college, university, weaponization. Everywhere there's a city in this sorry excuse for a state, there's a university, or at least one. And those universities are all commie bleep holes that promulgate the same leftist, baloney-filled ideology trotted out by the Marxists and the Frankfurt School idiots at the usual suspect major universities across this nation, a la University of Chicago and Columbia primarily, but not to be exclusive. You can also throw in virtually every single one in there too. So the universities in this, sorry, excuse for a state, are what controls the voting demographic of the major cities. And of course, every major city is controlled by a DEI hire, primarily woman, person of color, that's running those cities into the ground. If I'm being too frank, feel free to just switch to another channel. So that's actually what's going on. It's a combination of the cities and the universities and the cities. That's what's running this state into the ground. That's why we could not seem to get Mark Robinson elected, a black man who was conservative as the day is long and would be a sight bit better than anyone we've had in office in the governorship in my lifetime. Couldn't get Mark Robinson elected, though. No, couldn't do that. Let's roll through the rabbit hole a little more, shall we? Because it ain't just there that the problems arise, now is it? We got Marcus Jones. I'd love for anyone can take a deep dive into this. I don't have time this evening to get into every leadership position in the Queen City of Charlotte. I just don't have time. Marcus Jones, the city manager in Charlotte, the highest paid city manager in the United States, making more, as this says. He made more than the president of the United States did in 2022. Yeah, that's this joker. That's this scumbag. But wait, there's more. Because I know somebody's going, what's old Marcus got to do with it, huh? Marcus is a good guy. He's a good man, isn't he? Yeah, right. Let's roll back into the deep end of the pool because there's so much more. This filth pile. You want to talk about Teresa A. Stokes. Teresa A. Stokes. Because you see, old DeCarlos was arrested 14 times. 14 times. And this is the young lady, and I'm using that term very loosely, that let DeMarcus out. Yeah. Just recently. You see, this person is also the director of operations at Second Chance Services. Oh, isn't that cute? Yeah, this is a halfway house of sorts that lets criminals, when they get out, I guess houses them, puts them up for the night, and lets them go about their criminal mischief. So this person, Teresa A. Stokes, is also the magistrate. Can you believe that? The magistrate, as well as the director of Second Chance Services. So she let out DeCarlos Brown Jr. and she basically put him up at the Second Chance Services house there in the lovely Queen City of Charlotte. Don't you want to take a trip up there, maybe to see a basketball game here in a couple weeks, or maybe to see a Panthers game now? I couldn't imagine why you would want to go there. So, Second Chance Services, a mental health and addiction clinic in Charlotte, headed by Teresa A. Stokes. Oh, yeah. But wait, there's more. Because somebody's going, why, John, do you care? This is the funny of all funnies, but it ain't funny, folks. Not funny in the least. It's not funny because Iryna Zarutska is dead because of this scumbag. You want to see it on the screen? This is straight from Grok. Magistrate Teresa Stokes is not listed as a licensed attorney on the North Carolina State Bar Directory, indicating she has not passed the NC bar exam. So, scratchy scratch of the old cabeza. How exactly is Teresa A. Stokes able to be a judge, or as I guess she's aptly titled, a magistrate? Someone that can willy-nilly let out criminals such as DeCarlos Brown Jr. That's a real twist of the old mind to me, isn't it, you? So I guess in order to be a magistrate, you just have to go to Raleigh and they bestow your magistrateship upon you. Maybe I can be an NC magistrate. You think so? What do you think the chances of me doing that? You know, because Teresa A. Brown seems to be doing a bleep of a good job. You think I could get in on that? I don't think so either, because I'm not a lesbian. I'm not a person of color, and I'm not of the left persuasion. So I think there's 0% chance of me doing what I guess Teresa A. Stokes has been allowed to do, which is let DeCarlos out, 14-time arrested. Not in prison, though, because Teresa lets him out, and then he just hops on the train and kills Iryna Zarutska. Just murders her in cold blood. And then he gets up and says, I just took out that white girl. Just murdered her. Just got her. That's exactly, I'm paraphrasing. Somebody want to look up what she exactly said. That's fine. But basically, DeCarlos gets up after stabbing this chick in the throat and murdering her and says, I just got that white girl. Just got her. Yeah. That's what we're dealing with, folks. So we've run down a lot of the big name players there in Charlotte. Let's put another one on the screen. This is one that we should all love and enjoy. V. Lyles. Yeah. Apparently there's an election for her spot today. Oh, don't worry. I know. I mean, this state's run by, controlled by, and embedded with, like a tick on a dog, the lowest form of life on the planet. That's how Mark Robinson didn't get elected. So I assure you, there is no way, just as you're not going to see a snowball in the sun, there's no way that old V. Lyles does not get reelected in the lovely Queen City of Charlotte, because after all, she's a black female. So, of course, everybody will bow down, kiss her feet, massage her ring, I guess, and vote this piece of malarkey back in. Guaranteed. Because that's just how dumb we are here in North Carolina. That's just it, folks. Too dumb to stand up to it. Too dumb to remove it. Just too dumb. So you get what you deserve. I'm not saying that that Iryna got what she deserved, but sadly, the people of the state do. Keep putting in garbage. Keep expecting something else. And people can blame it on elections and stolen, blah, blah, blah. Fine. So do something about it, I guess, is really what it boils down to. We got more, though, because we got more from this lovely lady. Can we go bigger? Because I don't think I can even see it that small. Yeah, this is a statement from Lyles. We will never arrest our way out of issues such as homelessness and mental health. Lyles said, mental health disease is just that, a disease like any other that needs to be treated with the same compassion, diligence, and commitment as cancer and heart disease. So we're all supposed to go back on default here and just wring hands, gnash teeth, and rend garments and say, oh, DeCarlos was just mentally ill. That's all. He was just mentally ill. This is on par with all the drunks' BS excuses when they do dumb stuff. I was drunk. I was just drunk. Drunk trash, bottom feeder filth is what that means, folks. Don't care. If the shoe fits, you got to wear it, Cinderella. So DeCarlos, I don't give a rat's patoot how much Lyles here and the rest of the commie moronic left, the people of color, the NAACP, the ADL, or whatever else wants to try to frame this like DeCarlos was just a nutcase that went rogue. Okay, let's just pretend for a moment that's the case. Well, that nutcase should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. I'm not even going to say anymore because I'm going to get my own self in trouble here if I don't stop talking. Anyway, so during the throes of this, I suppose during a council meeting, while the mayor and the council peoples, because we wouldn't want to say council men, because after all, we don't want men in charge, do we? We want lovely DEI hire people of color, lesbians, and toad lookalikes, and other ne'er-do-wells and carpetbaggers like Lyles to be at the helm of things, right? So during a council meeting, I guess when they were discussing Iryna Zarutska's murder, they had to take an hour-long break to celebrate a councilman's birthday. Yeah, they had to take a break because, it's getting too much to talk about all the murder in Charlotte. Let's just take a break and celebrate somebody's birthday. Is that okay? We'll all have a pizza party. We'll put on our little hats, maybe our beads, and just ring some bells, because we don't want to talk about Iryna Zarutska's murder. Let's just take a 5-minute, hour-long break, and we'll have some cake, and we'll come back and talk about it. Yeah. So that's what went down. Again, Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. North Cac, if you're nasty. That's what's up, folks. That's what's going down. Disgusting trash. Let me throw some more up there, because I don't think you've had enough of the nausea-inducing, vomitous, tramp-filled trash. Lyles added that people living on the streets are more often the victims of crime than the perpetrators. Well, that is the biggest load of malarkey I think anybody could possibly digest. And she said she is committed to working with county officials, healthcare providers, and community leaders to improve services. Improve services? Lyles, how about you improve the fact that we got scum like Teresa letting these criminal pieces of dung out? How about we improve the fact that these people need to be scooped up off the street, when they're first, second, third, fourth, and all the way up to 14th offense, way before that, Charlie, and put into a maximum holding facility until they are no longer a living individual. Because here's the deal, folks. We've got normal people, and then we've got criminal scum. And I hate to break it to you, the criminal scum seems to be a particular demographic. Not all, but a hefty majority. But the folks on the left would have you believe that we are somehow living in Birth of a Nation, and we've got hooded klookies on horseback rounding up blacks and lynching them in the streets. When, in fact, it's quite clear that we're darn near in the inversion of that, don't you know? And I know all the apologists are going to say, 400 years of slavery. Please, miss me with all that B to the S, because that ain't nothing but B to the S. We got more for you, folks, because I know what you want to see. You want to see exactly how many people were in this train watching this girl get murdered. Well, that'd be 5. That'd be 5 people, not including the murderer, DeCarlos Brown Jr. That'd be 5 individuals. 5 personas en el tren con Iryna Zarutska. And this is after she was stabbed. Okay? This was after she was stabbed. We got 5 people not doing butt kiss. Before this lady was stabbed, we got 5 people just sitting back, maxing and relaxing, and like this bipedal walrus in red over here, just vaping, having a good old time on the train, I guess. Just watching another cracker die. 5 people just sitting back, maxing and relaxing. Another cracker dead. I will say, I don't know who this person is, but there was one person of color that came over after this lady was slumped over and dead or dying, and actually did try to render some assistance. So hats off to that individual. That's good. We got one person that's not a complete bipedal piece of feces. I thought we had this other image as well. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't, man. I swear I thought we had this pulled up because he had this one image of this other slag that was over here taking pictures. Maybe that's it. I just didn't put it on the screen, I guess. Yeah, we had this other slag over here taking pictures. I didn't put it up. But we got this other slag that was actually taking pictures of a dead woman in the train. I mean, how completely deranged do you think our society really is? Because obviously you ain't seeing the real temper of this whole thing. Completely deranged, folks. Let's go. We got some more. I'm gonna show Trump's little press conference piece here, and we'll see how things go after that. I might run a little long tonight. I hope you don't mind.
For far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people. Really, very, very innocent people.
Savage, bloodthirsty criminals. Holy shnikes, I'm agreeing with Trump, maybe for the first time in a long time, about 110% here.
Every place they control radical left judges, politicians, and activists, and they've adopted a policy of catch and...
You mean magistrate scum like Teresa? You mean mayors like Lyles? You mean city managers like Marcus?
Release for thugs and killers.
Thugs and killers, indeed.
In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are.
Amen.
It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors. 50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks, with hundreds being shot. And it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done because we did it right here in D.C., in District of Columbia. The capital of America was a bloodthirsty, horrible, dangerous place, one of the worst. And now it's a crime-free city, and we're going to keep it that way. It can be done. It can happen fast. All we want is, please, Mr. President, we need help. Chicago needs help. Other cities need help. We'll do what has to be done because we're going to make America safe again. And that includes our big cities. We're going to make those cities safe. Thank you.
What a concept. Yeah. What a stinking concept, folks. Actually making the cities safe. That has a nice ring to it. Good grief, folks. Good grief. You know, I was kind of ambivalent. I was kind of going back and forth on on Trump's actions of putting the military in the streets of D.C. And I've already covered why, because, you know, this looks cute when you've got somebody with, you know, a semblance of a moral compass in place. But I think it sets a dangerous precedent, because when the commie scum gets back in, it's just going to be used against everybody, primarily those right of Mao, those construed as patriots, those construed as anti-Jewish, anti-black, whatever the newest talking points would be of that day. And I do worry that that's exactly what's going to happen. It'll be used in conjunction with Peter Thiel's Palantir and all the other usual suspect mess that's already been rolled out under Barry Soetoro's regime and George Bush's regime and the like. So I really do have a problem with that on the one hand. But that being said, I'm going to choose my words carefully here because I ain't trying to get a visit from anybody. That being said, I do believe that is the only way to reclaim the various cities across this nation that are nothing more than communist-run scumholes. I do believe that's the only way. Because the American people are gutless, spineless cowards, just like the guy that I covered in the very beginning at the Phillies game. That's the crux of America. And if that ain't you, I ain't talking to you. So don't get all furled up and your hair raised and start bothering me. I don't care. I don't care what you are. I'm saying the vast majority of America, that's you. Truth hurts. Vast majority of Americans are spineless, weak cowards, just like the guy at the Phillies game. So there is no 1776 moment around the bend. There is no Boston Tea Party moment. That's not happened. That's delusional thinking. That's never going to happen again. That was cute. It happened in the 1700s, and alas, I mean that's it. That's a wrap. We're just too fat and well fed. I mean, that's just the bottom line, folks. Not to mention the cowardness, the atrazine in the water, the GMOs. It's all a wrap. Call it black pilled. I call it real pill. So that's what's up. So as far as actually turning any of these scumhole cities around, I think that's really the only hope. And, you know, I'll savor a little more on this, but there's no point in bringing in the military if they're not armed, live ammo, just like they'd be going into Beirut or I guess like we're about to go into South America and wreak havoc over there for some unknown reason. Again, not our war, not our problem. Sorry, Venezuela, don't care. Sucks for you. But we shouldn't be in Venezuela anymore. We should be in any of the other hundreds of countries we're in all across the nation. That's absurd. That is the antithesis of George Washington's farewell address saying no more foreign entanglements. I guess everybody just got dyslexic or just plain stupid and thought George Washington meant let's grow the empire all across the globe, put a military base into every piece of sand we ever sneeze upon, and stay there for eternity, being world policemen, getting into everybody else's conflicts, and otherwise doing the absolute inversion of what George Washington said. Because that's exactly what we're doing. If you haven't read the Smedley Butler materials, you probably should. Because indeed, war is a racket. It's nothing more than a banker's war, and that's who's profiteering off the blood and death and lives of not just Americans, but everybody involved in this nonsense. So I don't want to get off on a war jag. I think we should bring all the troops home, put them on the borders, and put them in these big cities and a limpiar los ciudades. But that being said, yeah, I think that's really the only way. You know, I'm sorry. I don't want troops on the streets because I know that the commies are going to do the same thing, but I don't know. At the same point, you got to kind of make hay while the sun shines. And while we still at least have somebody that gives lip service to caring about America in office, we probably should use that time to clean up the cities if we can. If not, then I say we just let loose all these communist cities and states and be done with it. I mean, Michigan's already gone. It's just a Muslim bleep hole. It's not coming back. I mean, the proverbial we, the American people, have allowed the immigration from Somalia and all other sorts of despot-ridden bleep holes all across the globe. So Michigan's gone. It ain't coming back. Sorry. But there might be something to turn around in places like Chicago, New York, LA, Portland, definitely Charlotte as another bleep hole, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, Austin, all the bleep holes that you can possibly think of all around Los Estados Unidos. Yeah, should be a, hi there, we're the U.S. troops. We're here to take out the trash. That's what actually should happen. Live ammo and all. MRAPs, Abrams tanks, air support, the whole 9 yards. Because I'm sure you've seen the same mess as me. You've seen the blustering and the boasting, all these gang members and even former military in Chicago talking about how they're going to take out the National Guard and the troops and yeah, they're tough. Yeah. Okay. I got no words other than okay. Maybe so. I don't know. Maybe so. I know that they've been scraping the bottom of the barrel in the military for quite some time because our society is utter feces. So the people that they get from the society in turn are feces. So, I mean, you know, this ain't your grandpappy's military. That's for blame sure. I can guarantee that 8 days a week and twice on Sunday. It ain't your grandpappy's military at all. So, we're sitting at 12:41. I believe I've well passed our time this evening. Had to reset everything, of course, because right when the show started, everything just went to turds on the stream end for reasons unknown to anyone. But I was going to really go deep dive this evening, but I'm thinking quite sincerely about pulling those cards back and just rolling into that on Thursday. Because I got at least an hour plus of material just to talk about on Thursday. Really going full bore down the historical rabbit hole and understanding how we got here to the full cucked white male America that is. And I think that's something we really need to spend a full hour on Thursday. We're going down the full rabbit hole. We're going to connect all the dots to the media and the now social media and the culture and the popular culture and the absolute orchestrated shift of our society from a once great, strong society to a now complete society of bedlam, cuckdom, and white males acting like this guy at the beginning, the Phillies game. So that's exactly what we're going to do, folks. We're going to just punt for today, and we'll hit it up on Thursday. We'll go deep dive into exactly what I said. Culture is one of my favorite topics to talk about, and I could talk about it ad nauseum with no notes. So considering I've actually prepared a good hour plus show for you, we're just going to talk about it further on Thursday. I guarantee you, probably Thursday, we're going to have no clips. We're going to have no video. We're just going to deep dive into culture, pop culture, and how we got here. All right, folks, be safe out there. I would suggest, I don't know. I'm trying to keep it clean, trying to keep it nice. I love the original movie Death Wish myself. And I think any people that are actually on any sort of public transit should be very aware of their surroundings, especially if you're Los Blancos. Oh, goodness gracious sakes alive. If you're Los Blancos, you better have your eyes up always. Man, we should do a whole show just covering like awareness in public situations, because I'm here to tell you, man, there is no awareness in public situations. I scarcely go out because I hate being around scum. But when I do go out, it's just so disheartening because everybody's doing this. Everybody's looking down, playing with their little light box, talking to their non-existent friends, like blipping around, texting people, listening to moronic idiocy on their pods and pads and earbuds and all this BS. It's really just frightful going out and about because it really just exposes, I don't even know if you'd call it a blind spot. It exposes the weakness of the American people because there is no street smarts. There is no awareness. There's nothing but, tiptoeing through the tulips and skipping down Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. That's the mentality and myopic nature of the American public. And I'm not blaming this young lady for her demise. It's clearly DeCarlos and the fact that we live in a decaying shell of refuse as a society, a culture. I mean, that's America, folks. Star-Spangled Lie, The Mouse That Roared, the exact point that I was driving home with the graphics for this episode. That is the point. We are the mouse that roared. We are the parrot who thinks he's a bald eagle. We are the big tough man strutting around like he's got it all. He's got the prosthetic testes on the back of his big jacked up truck. Meanwhile, in reality, this is it. This is our reality, folks. This is our reality. It's so sad. It's sickening, folks. It really is. We are the mouse that roared. We are the parrot who thinks he's a bald eagle. We are the complete cucked, weak generation of nothingness that somehow thinks we are still, the greatest generation. We somehow are believing the hype that we are a John Wayne caricature, that we're Rambo, that we're Dirty Harry, Good night, nurse. That we're Paul Kersey from Death Wish. We are somehow believing the hype of the yesteryears, the hype of previous generations, the hype of 80s movies. But folks, that ain't the case, man. Please stop being so stupid. Please garner self-awareness. Please grow a backbone. Please defend yourselves and your countrymen from the likes of DeCarlos Brown Jr. He ain't the only one, folks. And breaking this ain't all black people, folks. We have immigrant scum coming from all sorts of aspects and walks of life here. And yes, you may also have to worry about Los Blancos too. Anyway, I'm gonna stop myself right now. We have well worn our welcome this evening. I'll see you on Thursday. We'll do that deep dive that I promised. You can't do everything, but you can do something. Please get out there, do your parts, make a difference, and do something. I'll be seeing you sooner than later in the anomic age.
Thank you for listening to The Anomic Age, a John Age project. For past shows, further info, and to comment, go to anomicage.com. That's ANOMICAGE.com. Till next time, thank you for listening to The Anomic Age.